Okay, 17 minutes past 9 a.m. and you are tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We are saying welcome to the Polity Tuesday edition, this 24th day of March 2026. We are counting down to the end of this very month, the month of March, and next will be the month of April, which happens to be the month of Easter. If you have been following your calendar very well, you will know that very soon is going to be the Holy Week, and for the Holy Week, of course, we're going to get to Easter. Of course, 3rd day of April is going to be Good Friday, and 4th is going to be Holy Saturday. Then Sunday is going to be Easter Sunday. So Easter Sunday is going to be on April 5th. Then Easter Monday is going to be on April 6th. So we thank you for being there always and for joining us in our celebration of our 1-year anniversary. We are glad and we can always continue to thank you for always identifying with Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Franklin Ebekam. Say good morning to every one of you listening to us this very morning. Whether you are in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, we are grateful for waking up with you this morning. And we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get under the video, drop your comment, your name, your location, and don't forget to share, like, and follow. We are also live on our Instagram and YouTube channels, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. If you want to engage on X, we are also Udala Radio. Get on that platform. You see some of the information we do post and follow to engage. This morning, I'm with Tony Sambeki on the analysis desk. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Franklin. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra. Good morning, in the Onitsha. Good morning, in the Osumu. Good morning, everyone under the reach of our voice. In the Afia, in the Oluibo, in the Oluaka, in the essential services, those who provide essential services. Brothers from different states, from different continents, those who are listening to us from different locations, we all welcome you. Good morning, everyone. Not minding those who are also troublemakers, because we would always tell them that trouble does not pay, and it also pays for you to know the right thing and do the right thing. You're welcome, everyone. We thank God Almighty for His grace, for His mercy, for His love, for His kindness, for everything He has been doing in our lives, for what He has been doing with us. And at the same time, we pray that He will always preserve us to keep telling the truth, no matter how bitter it sounds, and no matter how people perceive it. But the most important thing is that we remain in the path of truth, and that's the fundamental. We thank you all for being part of this Tuesday edition of the program, today being the 24th day in the month of March in the year 2026. You're welcome, everyone.
Okay, today happens to be World Tuberculosis Day. It's of course it's a global day to create awareness about tuberculosis, because we know that Nigeria has a tuberculosis issue. Even the world too has a tuberculosis issue. That's why a day like this gives us opportunity for us to do education at the same time, call for action, especially now that there is a funding gap in respect to TB. So, Tony, before we get to the headlines, I was sharing with you an experience this very morning, that captures how, Nigerians will try to outsmart the other, or will try to get involved in one kind of thing or the other in the name of trying to be smart. And sometimes, maybe if you're a gentleman, you might decide to wish it away. Oh, go with your trouble. But sometimes you might see that there's need for you to stand up to these very people who think they are smart and put them in their position. I'm talking about what some tricycle riders do, or even commercial bus drivers, what they do. They might see a passenger and they bargain and agree at a certain fare, and the person boards. But when the person gets to his or her destination, pays the motorist or the driver or the tricyclist and demands for balance. And the next thing is that the driver will change, telling the person, I didn't tell you so and so amount of money. I told you so and so amount of money. And it becomes an issue we do see on daily basis on the road. And I keep on wondering, why is it in the nature of drivers and tricyclists to behave in this very manner?
There are those who are mischievous in life, and they feel that for them Onye elili eligia, that mentality. Eliege eligogi. They have this thought that you have to outsmart the next person at all time, at all place, whatever whims, whatever caprice, whatever way, whatever mean you can do it, just outsmart the next person. And there are people who are just like that. And especially it is well distributed across different professions, not just the keke riders. But the most important thing is that the fate of a gentleman is hanging. Of course, if you remain gentle, especially in this part of the world, it means that agane rigging bobona, and you'll be saying no problem. But then if you believe that these things are not a problem, that you can keep on being gentle. But let me say this: gentility does not in any way teach certain lessons expected. Because once you ignore something out of being gentle, you've not in any way taught the next person any lesson. And the person will keep doing it. But probably you may say, he will meet the person that will teach the lesson. Why don't you do the lesson teaching? Why are you keeping it to the other person? You don't want problem. You don't want to get involved in any physical. You don't want to get involved in any kind of public embarrassment in the name of being gentle. It's accepted anyway. But the truth is that you are pushing the work to the next person. You want to be gentle and unscathed without in any way doing the work. Most times people learn in a hard way. There are people that yes. For instance, from the story you narrated, if somebody tried to outsmart you, either by being clever by half or whatever amount, 500, people will be, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the lesson. The money is, if it's about the money, nobody will have time. Because you've seen people quarreling over 200 naira, 300 naira, and you look at the person quarreling over the 200 naira, 300 naira. The person is bigger than that. But the point is that he's trying to make a point, teach the next person a lesson. You can't continue doing this. You can't do this to people. There are people that will tell you, why don't you walk away? Oh, Belego. If he has walked, if the person walks away, or if he has walked away, means that he has not done his work. And what is that work? The work is to teach the person that you cannot get away with things like this. Don't push it to the next person in the name of being gentle. If all of us are gentle, the society will become orderless. No orderliness.
And maybe I should add that there are times when you say that I'm a gentle person, a gentleman, let me just allow this to slide. Sometimes it portrays weakness, because there are sometimes you need to stand up and correct an ill, other than just wish it away and move on. Say, okay, you're going to meet your match in the next person. So what I mean is that there are sometimes we need to stand up to things and tend to correct this mentality that has pervaded, among our young people.
It is not measured by the issue in contention, whether it is 1 naira or 2 naira. It is most importantly measured by the need to teach that lesson. You can't get away with it. I know somebody sang a song and said, "He no be gentleman at all." You have to be gentle where you have to, because the idea of gentility is more like allowing things to be, but then you can't be gentle at all times. There are times you have to stand up and say no to evil, or no to something that will, if it's not addressed, it's going to continue. Most of the people that land the other way around, somebody stop them. For you don't want to be that person that will stop them. You want to be gentle all through. It doesn't work. And gentility doesn't mean when you don't stand up against some of these vices. You can be gentle and then be vocal in some of these things. But the most important thing is being somebody who is relatable and an easygoing person. There are things naturally that will come with all manner of funfair and bureaucraticness. You say, no, I'm a gentle person, I'm a simple person, I don't want all this. Why are you doing this? No, you don't do this. We all the same. That is gentility we preach. Not when you see evil. you won't stand up to evil, or when you see somebody outsmarting the other person, or you see somebody doing evil to someone, or you see somebody who has wronged the other person, you say, no, I'm gentle, leave them. You are pushing it to the next person.
Okay, so we have to look at the papers this very morning because we have 4 of them, and there are some interesting headlines captured in this very paper. So we'll begin with the headlines we have on Nigerian Tribune. The big story there says bandits bomb bridge in Niger. 8 feared dead, 1 killed, mother injured in Kwara explosion. Military strikes Turuji hideout, kills scores of bandits. You can read this very story on pages 2 and 4 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. EU announces 288 million pounds grant to Nigeria's healthcare sector. Others on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Elumelu renews commitment to empower 3,200 African entrepreneurs across 54 countries on page 2. Court sentences ex-AGOF Nwaboku to 72 years imprisonment for 868 million naira fraud on page 25. Alleged fraud, ICPC to arraign El Rufai today on page 3. Wike-backed PDP set for March 29 convention on page 15. I'm just wondering on what legal basis is Wike faction going ahead to hold convention? And guess what? Semelanyang is one of the convention planning committee members. He's been issuing precedent regarding the convention, whereas a court, a court, even Court of Appeal, upheld his suspension from the party. I keep on wondering. Maybe if we have time, we'll brush it over a little bit. And then another headline we have here says Tinubu strangling democracy. Atiku on page 2. He has riders condemns DSS's siege on Malami's residents. Your narrative on Tinubu's UK state visit is misconceived, Omokri tells Momodu on page 28. I woke up this very morning and I saw a statement that was issued by Bayon Anoga reacting to what Chatham House said about the president's visit to the UK, because Chatham House actually was critical about that very visit, saying that it did not bring any change to the ordinary Nigerian. Then this one says every indicator is flashing red, says UN as it warns of record climate imbalance on page 3. On the health sector, illicit drug use increases stroke risk, story on page 4. Makinde approves 10,000 naira transport support for workers on page 21. 1.5 billion naira year safe disbursement kicks off in Oyo State. So is this in Oyo State something that could be emulated by other state governors? Because Makinde said, in the face of the increasing price of petrol and the consequent increase on price of food and then transportation fare, that is going to award 10,000 naira extra to workers in that very state to help them adapt to the changing environment. Now over to the Punch newspaper, we have the big story that says Hamzat Yayi Ali may emerge APC consensus governorship candidates on page 2 of Punch newspaper. The riders include how stakeholders Salah meeting with Tinubu knocked out Adelabu from 2027 Oyo governorship race. Bajabi Amila, Bamidele, Sonolu, Abiodun, Oyebanji, Yayi, Adedeji present at meeting. Party moves to compensate affected aspirants. How meeting address aspirant popularity. Other headline says convention PDP begins nomination form sale on page 9. Fuel hike, Makinde case 10,000 naira transport relief for workers on page 8. Middle East war may force Nigerians to work from home. Dangote on page 2. Yesterday, he visited Mr. President in Lagos, where they had some talk, and after the talk, he addressed the media talking about how the crisis in the Middle East has affected Nigeria and Africa, and he's saying if care is not taken, if nothing is done urgently, that Nigerians might be forced to begin to adopt different ways to survive. In fact, he tried to reference what happened during COVID-19, where many people were made to work from home. He also mentioned Indonesia, where it's already happening there, because the government of Indonesia has already cut down the working days to 4, so that it's going to drop on what people spend in terms of transportation. Police arraigned Barau dismiss shooting claim at NURTW headquarters on page 8. Barau went to the headquarters yesterday to take over the secretariat of the NURTW, which has been headed by MCO Lumo. And from what we gathered, about 300 persons, went to the secretariat, and they went with different kinds of arms, machete, bow, what have you not. And there was a free-for-all fight there. One person was seriously wounded before police intervened and stopped the melee. But from what we gathered, Barao has been arrested by the police before the court for attempting to go to take over the secretariat in a very violent way. ICPC to Irene El Rufai in Kaduna today on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Survivors recount horror tales after Akwara Church bandit attack on page 3. EFCC marks Malami's Abuja property for feature on page 9. I don't know if you saw the video of the altercation between Malami and the EFCC officials where he was questioning their, should I call it that the invasion of his house? But what EFCC is saying is that they went to mark the property because it's been forfeited on the interim based on court order. Then this story says NLC OPS demand action as petrol hit 1,400 naira per litre. That story can be found on page 17, and it has a rider. Labour seeks temporary subsidy. OPS warns of job losses. Then one story inside the page of Punch says Soludo appoints key officials and special advisors in Anambra. Then over to the Guardian. Guardian has some headlines. One of them says PDP convention, pressure mounts for Yusuf or Tom chairmanship on page 3. 2 die as Air Canada plane fire truck collide at US airport on page 2. El Rufai to face multiple charges in federal state court on page 30. I think he has 2 cases going against him. One at the Federal High Court and the other one at the State Court. Then that story can be found on page 6, by the way. Then the big story here says World Tuberculosis Day, TB gains at risk as funding gap, stigma, malnutrition persist. You can see a chart there showing Nigeria TB in focus. Talking about 73% funding gap, which is trying to undermine responses and threaten drug supply for TB cases in Nigeria. Another headline says Nigerians lose 12.5 billion naira to digital fraud in 4 years. That's on business page of 15. That's a humongous amount of money. 12.5 billion naira in digital fraud. Oyo government issues heat wave alert, warns of health risk on page 7. 8 feared dead as terrorists bomb Niger bridge on page 30. Oil drops by 14% as petrol, diesel prices worsen citizens' plight on page 3. Emerging alliances jolt Kano APC as marking their Wike dispute deepens on page 6. I think yesterday, Wike told Makinde that he knew that he wouldn't be able to finish the fight, and he went on to start it. So, I don't know whether it's a time for gloating for Wike or not. Then, over to Vanguard newspaper, and we have this story here that says Middle East war, business closures, job losses loom, NECA, NLC, LCCI, ASBON. Another one says Strait of Hormuz, Trump extends Iran deadline by 5 days, claims productive talks. On page 8, I don't know whether Trump is using propaganda in this very war or actually if something concrete was going on, because on Saturday he announced that US is going to attack power structures in Iran if it fails to open the Strait of Hormuz under 48 hours. And yesterday he said they are postponing for about 5 days because US had a constructive talk with Iran. But Iran is saying, we didn't have any talk with you. Rather, you're trying to use propaganda to see if you're going to bring down the price of crude oil in the international market. Then another story says, our convention will endorse Tinubu, showcase stewardship, climate action, APC on page 9. I think the convention is on Saturday, this very coming Saturday. Another story says, police arrest Barowa, 6 others after taking over NU ROTW Secretariat in Abuja on page 6. The story above the nameplate says, Nigeria's net domestic credit declines 6.9% to 109 trillion naira on page 19. Ozoro, 6 female students sexually harassed, not raped. SUG president on page 10. PDP crisis, you started the fight you couldn't win. Weakest lands marking there on page 26. No victor, no vanquished, neck. Terrorists bomb Kwara, Niger communities, kill 9, destroy bridges on page 7 of Vanguard newspaper. And these are the headlines we had this very morning on the front pages of the 4 papers we brought to you. So next will be for us to get into our analysis proper and make sense out of this very story. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Once more, thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 9:38 a.m. and we are transmitting for Onitsha, Anambra State. My name is Franklin Bekanda. We tell you some Becky this very morning, who is on the analysis desk. So we talked about all these headlines and let's get to the discussion proper. And we'll begin from Anambra State because charity, they say, begins at home. Yesterday, we saw a raft of appointments approved by the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo. It's no longer news that he has started his second term. He was sworn in. That was last Tuesday. And on Wednesday, he announced the dissolution of the cabinet, asked everybody to submit to PAM secretary. And yesterday, we saw a couple of appointments, and not less than 14 of them were made yesterday. And interestingly, we saw some developments where, for the very first time in Anambra State, we now have a young female secretary to the government of the state. 39-year-old Chiamaka Nake, former commissioner for economic planning, has been appointed secretary to the Anambra State government. And Christian Aburime returned as the CPS, despite the fact that there were some calls coming from the quarters of the embattled NUJ chairman in Anambra State, saying that he wasn't open to the media, that the governor shouldn't reappoint him, but he got reappointed and he retained his position as the chief press secretary to the governor. Then we also have the appointment of Barrister Ngozi Iwono as the new head of service. I must talk about Iwono because the very first time I met her was when we went for an engagement on gender-based violence at the Ministry of Justice in Noka. Then she was the Solicitor General of the state, and I saw her passion and commitment to advancing, the cause of women and also advancing society. Then talk about Barrister Joaquin Peters Aneto, who is going to assume office as the Principal Secretary to the Governor. That is Dr. Ben Nwankwo, who was named Chief of Staff to the Governor. And then Professor Frank Collins Okafor will serve as the Chief of Protocol. There is also Barrister Tobechukwu Nweke, who was appointed Attorney General of the state. And then we have other appointments like Dr. Vincent Ebuna Okechi as Deputy Chief of Staff, Mrs. Ngodelusi Okoye as Deputy State Chief of Protocol. Dr. Godwin Nadozie was appointed Special Advisor on Medicals and Pharmaceuticals. Waichi Nwokoli was appointed Special Advisor on Innovation and Business Incubation. Of course, we can say that she retained her appointment because she served in the first term. Then there is Professor Ibuka Nwankwo, who takes on the role of Special Advisor on Special Projects and Director of the Project Evaluation and Monitoring. Of course, he also served in the first term. And then Mr. Kinemaka, he was retained as Special Advisor on Community Security. I've talked about Chimaka Nake, former Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, who was appointed the Secretary to the State Government. And all these appointments take immediate effect. So, Tony, new cabinet taking shape towards the second term of Mr. Governor. And now, if you look at this very appointment, can we say that the governor just started making an appointment unilaterally based on his conviction on the capacity of those who are going to work with him in his second term?
Well, the good thing is whether he makes it unilaterally, definitely ought to be his appointment. These are people he knows. He may have worked with them in one way or the other. If you look at some of the people you mentioned, the governor knows them very well, and he has come across with them in many occasions. There are those who just finished with his government, the one that was dissolved, and then the need for them to come on board into the one being constituted. He knows these people very well. If you look at, I can pick a few of them because we cannot talk about all of them. Let's begin with Chiamaka Nake, you mentioned earlier on. Before now, just as we all know, she was the commissioner for budget and economic planning. And if you look at the figures she has, we are told that she led the effective mobilization planning and allocation of state resources to drive socio-economic development. She held a lot of leadership roles across several state boards and initiatives, including the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, even the Tenor Revenue Service Board, and even the Small Business Agency, ASBA. She has been there. Yes, start 9 years old from Northia, and even before that, she's a seasoned finance and public sector professional. We're told she has about 13 years of experience spanning finance, strategy development, and economic planning. Most important thing is that she's a product of PwC, just as our Minister of State for Finance is also a product of PwC. And when we talk about PwC, many people will say, what is PwC? We know very well, once you're a product of PwC, it really positions you so high among your peers. PricewaterhouseCoopers. I remember that it was a merger in 1989 between the Pricewaterhouse and Coopers and Lybrand. They merged in 1989 to become PricewaterhouseCoopers. Of course, they are one of the 4 leading accounting firms in the world. You have Deloitte. Most of us hear Deloitte. If you are watching BB Niger, they will tell you with the statistics computed by Deloitte and then those kind of things. But you have Deloitte, you have KPMG, and you also have the EY, the Ernst and Young. These are the 4 major accounting firms in the world. So once you're a product of PwC, it positions you high. We talked about Taiwo Yedele, who was the chairman of the task committee, task force, whatever you want to call it. Mr. President quickly made him Minister of State for Finance. He is a product of PwC. And Chiamaka is also a product of PwC. See why Mr. Governor quickly made her the secretary to the government of the state. But before that, she was into the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. Just like we said earlier on, she has a lot of degrees. Of course, she has master's degree. I'm aware that she's also doing her PhD degree. 39 years old, the youngest and the first female SSG. But I said I'm going to talk about a few of them because you can't talk about all of them. We're going to talk about the chief protocol, Professor Collins. I've met him one-on-one. A professor of international relations with UNIZIC from Oka. I think it's from Umuji Oka, if I get it correct. And even before now, many don't even know that governor has spotted him. Governor has eyes spotting capable, competent, and capacity-driven individuals. Give it to Governor Soludo. He has eyes for that. If you look, it's not about your contribution towards his re-election. Of course, there should be a kind of reward, no doubt. It's done everywhere, all over the world. But the most important thing is that those who are going to do certain work, because these next 4 years, according to him, is going to be his legacy year. There will be legacy imprints in most projects. You see how he spotted Professor Frank Collins Okafor from UNIZIC as the chief protocol. Of course, he will be replacing the one we know much about, Glamour. You also look at other appointments. There are so many of them. Okay, let's talk about Tobechukwu Nwekes SAN. Before that, he was special advisor to the governor on legal matters. But the need for governor to promote him as the state attorney general and Commissioner for Justice. He was pruned, he was horned by our own Ibazu. Of course, he was with Ibazu Shema for a very long time. Ibazu horned him, and he has done extraneously. In fact, he has done so much. He was special advisor to the governor when he was elevated to the rank of senior advocate of Nigeria, and today he has been appointed the Attorney General of the state and Commissioner for Justice.
So she's going to replace the Professor Silva FMJ.
Of course. We even knew, some of us muted the idea. I think I was speaking with someone, was it last week, Friday? I was speaking with somebody and I told the person the likelihood that he will be the Attorney General is so high. The person asked me how, because I told the person the governor has eye for spotting people who have capacity. And he has capacity, the young man. And you're going to talk about, there's so many of them, but then the most important ones, if we talk about Chief of Staff, Dr. Ben Wankwo Isingiri, Napo, former House of Rep member representing Urumba North, Urumba South Federal Constituency. Of course, we all know his capacity. He is now Governor's Chief of Staff. He's going to replace NSS Ajoy. We can talk.
And let me even use this opportunity to correct it, because I have seen some media houses writing Apo as Apo. For them to take note, Apo is quite different from Apo. All right, because I know Apo. If you get to the areas of Ekulo, Biachin and Co, you now begin to move into Apo.
Yeah, of course. Professor Engineer Bukawankwo. He has come here for a program. The day we took him, he was the one that was telling us about the flyover at Ekulobia, the rail lines that the governor was to roll out, and so many things he told us that every day. He's the special advisor to the governor on special projects and other things attached to that office. You see the caliber of the people the governor has appointed, apart from the fact that they have good qualifications in terms of degrees and then other academic ranks like professors, and if you talk about degrees, doctors, barristers, and so many things. But the most important thing that you must show this degree earning and convert it to work capacity driven, because the people must feel the work.
Tony, for Chimakanake, given her background, do you think that her potential and ability and capacity will be maximized as the secretary to the government of the state?
Well, she has performed very well as just like we said, commissioner for budget and economic planning, and she must have understudied the outgone secretary to the state government, Professor Solo Chukulubelu. And then you asked if her capacity will be optimized, maximized, if she serves in that role as the SSG. Why not? Because the governor must have studied her. And there are things, I saw many news channels had the news. In fact, many of them broadcast the news. Most of the news channels you open, they were the Anambra gets her first female SSG, a 39-year-old, and people started talking about the First Republic. That so many of our First Republic politicians were in their late 20s and late 30s. The truth is that the government believes so much in youths, giving them opportunity to thrive, knowing fully well that they have got so much in their youthful days to give to the state. It is important to note that the youth, they must take up such leadership position this period. And when you see a governor that gives youth that space, they should not mess it around. They should not mess up with it. If you look at the MD and CEO of Southeast Development Commission, he's a youth. He was once served under Saluda as one of the agency heads.
And Seba?
That's what I'm saying. He once served. Even before then, he was once a commissioner as a youth. And he has shown capacity. He has proven himself. So the point I'm trying to make is that all the people in that category, youth, they must take up that responsibility, because if you look at the secretary to the state government, of course, her function will be coordinating activities of all ministries, departments, and agencies of government. That's the very central to her work as the secretary to the state government. She has to coordinate all activities of ministries, departments, and agencies, and she must serve as the link between the governor and the government institutions. She must prepare and implement decisions of the State Executive Council and oversees policy execution across government. Very important. These are key functions, and of course, you will measure if she can excel in that other ministry, commissioner for budget and economy. It's important now. It is more work to her to ensure coordination, link between these institutions mentioned.
For what you've seen so far, it seems like the relics of the government of Obiano is gone, so to say, because going forward, we might not see anybody coming from the government of Obiano, serving in this very present government. That's number one. Then number two is, there was this very leak about the possibility of Aburime retaining his position. In fact, the news was out there before it happened, but others came as a surprise. How did that leak? Because it was even one of the reasons that the NUJ chairman, had to write. He put out something in the media, trying to marshal out reasons why he should not be reappointed. Though he was countered by some journalists saying that he was just writing his opinion, based on bias and what have you not. But how this thing got leaked to the media regarding his reappointment?
Well, I think if you know Aburimen doesn't give ears to rumors. He says, this is somebody I've met, this is somebody I know very well, he's committed, he's dedicated to his duty. That's the most important thing. And most of us must have seen some of his writings. There is no government function he doesn't write on it and then get to the public as early as possible. You may have disagreements with him on certain things, but that would not invalidate the fact that he's also competent in his own right. Individuals may have their sentiments, especially when he may not allow you to mortgage any section of the media or try to impose or impugn certain things. It's just one of those things that you may not agree with him, but he's a thorough professional. For me, he's a thorough professional. He is doing his work, and the governor has confidence in him. He has worked with governor even before becoming the chief press secretary, and governor retained him. He's one of the few governor retained in their appointments. Anybody can, the man you talked about, of course, his ambition, and if he, for one reason or the other, feels that your ambition may be inordinate and cuts the ambition the way you want to push it, that does not invalidate the fact that he's not competent.
Okay, so if you look at the gender distribution, I think among these very appointments, there are about 4 women in these appointments that have been made so far. If you take a look at the whole list, we have 13 appointments made so far, and after these 13, we have 4 women. So if you do the ratio, you'll be able to get what the percentage is all about. So we wish them well, hoping that they'll be able to help the governor to deliver on his mandate in his second term, which has already, kicked off. Chimokoli, being retained shows that the governor wants her to continue with what she's doing with the SID.
Solution Innovation Districts.
Exactly. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Emiro Global Natural Health Tech and Wealth brand is bringing to you an effective health product where health meets wealth and is very effective and value-laden. And it is called the Emiro Elixir. Addresses ulcer, addresses eye disorders, addresses cancer, addresses prostate problems, and addresses infertility. boosts immunity, provides natural antibiotics, provides natural antioxidants, relieves allergies, increases libido, controls asthma, controls diabetes, relieves arthritis, improves digestion, balances blood pressure. The Emiro Global Concepts Limited, maker of the Emiro Elixir, is located at number 33 Iweka Road, Odabo, Onitsha, opposite Chibel Filling Station near Modebe Junction. And for inquiries, you can call their phone numbers. You can call the CEO Emerald on 080-6230-1834, 080-3326-1480, on 070-6820-3180. Take Emerald Elixir.
Onitsha ndị nwe ahịa, nke a bụ ụzọ anyị si asị unu daalụ maka ọmarịcha otu afọ nke nzikọrịta ozi Udala Radio dị otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a. N'ọnwa Maachị a niile, Udala nwere onyinye pụrụ iche maka ịgba afọ ọhụrụ a. Ịzụta advert slot abụọ, inwe otu mgbakwunye onyinye n'efu. Ịnụrụ nke ọma, ohere nke mgbasa ozi ahịa, ozi ọbụla maọbụ nke program ịkwụ ụgwọ, nweta ohere abụọ, anyị agbakwunyere gị otu. Nke a bụ ohere ị nwere ime ka ndị Ọnịcha n'obodo ndị ọzọ nụ ma mara maka ahịa gị. Gbata ọsọ ozugbo n'ihi ohere ọ pụrụ iche a malitere ugbu a ma bụrụ nke ga-abịa n'isi njedebe n'ụbọchị nke 31 n'ọnwa Maachị nke afọ a, n'ọnwa mgbakwunye afọ Udala. Maka ndebanya na ajụjụ, kpọọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị dị n'Ọnịcha na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout. Ya bụ inwe ike ịkpọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout Ọnịcha. Udala Radio emeela otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a, ọkpọkọpi n'ezie.
Good day, my people. This is Dr. Lelong Wellness Center, Aka Road, Onitsha. We are here again in Anambra State to improve the health of our people, both young and old adults, especially for those of you that have missed our series of program and those that have attended our outreaches before that have been asking us when next we will have free medical checkup. This program is for everyone who desire to be healthy. Hurry now. Because of the news that standard of living in the country have nothing to write home about, despite that, your health is your greatest wealth. And we from Dr. Lelong are asking, when last did you check your health? Many people are walking around today without knowing their vital signs, your health level, and that can be dangerous. That is why we are inviting you to our Health and Wealth Outreach Program. It's War to End Poor Health and Poverty in Anambra. At this program,
are you tired of living with pain, stress, or sleepless nights? It is time to experience true healing the natural way at Dr. Lelong Wellness Center. At Dr. Lelong Wellness Center, we combine traditional Chinese medicine (TCM), physiotherapy, and massage therapy to help your body heal, relax, and recover naturally. Whether it is stroke, arthritis, insomnia, prostatitis, or high cholesterol, our expert therapists are here to guide you towards a healthier, pain-free life. From full body massage to sub-health therapy, we bring balance and vitality back to your system because at Dr. Lelong Wellness Center, your wellness is our priority. Visit us today at number 18 Angel Toby Street, Toby's bus stop opposite Church Gate Pharmacy, Maryland Estate, Oyolo 33, or call 0806 075 2900. 0806-075-2900. Get your health back to 100% by simply booking a reservation at Dr. Lelong Wellness Center 33, your home of total wellness and recovery.
Please listen to this important information on your good health. Do you know that many deaths nowadays are caused by ignorance on drug abuse? Do you know that many males and females now resort to the consumption of unhygienic concoctions for the treatment of various diseases? Do you know that some even take their lab results to traditional healers for interpretation? Now listen, abuse of scientific or traditional drug destroys the body system mechanism and it kills. Consumption of expired, adulterated, substandard and unpasteurized traditional herbal mixture could lead to health complications. So detoxification of the body and restoration of the functional organs is always necessary for your good health.
This message is sponsored by Anti-Drug Abuse Incorporated Headquarters, Annex Sunshine Hospital, number 4 Obanye Street, Onitsha, Anambra State, Nigeria. 08033 206819.
Drug abuse is an enemy to your good health. Be warned.
Join Anti-Drug Abuse Health Education every Wednesday by 8:45 a.m. on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, thank you for staying to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Bekandam with Tony Zambeki, and it's now 2 minutes past 10 a.m. Before we went on break, we talked about the appointments which were made by the governor of Anambra City yesterday, and just to effect a correction that actually Dr. Ben Wangwa is from Apu. Okay, not Apu. Okay, he's from Apu in Nuremberg, South Local Government Area of Anambra State. And also that same yesterday, we gathered that the governor met with the outgone members of his ESCO, all the appointees who serve in the government. They had a nostalgic moment, shared memories, and at the end of the day, he issued them with a letter of commendation for the job they did. So that's how we get to summarize what happened yesterday in Anambra State in respect to governance. Let's talk about the security challenge we have in the country, because yesterday we got to know about incident that happened in Kwara State and in Niger State. In Niger State, not less than 8 people were killed, after a vehicle, struck a bomb which was planted on a road by terrorists. That very explosion destroyed a bridge along Luma Road in Borgu local government area of that very state. And from what we gathered, that explosion cut off a movement between several communities in that very area. The bridge destroyed served as a major route for traders traveling to the Babana border market, which we understand holds every Monday. Then, when you now go to the one that happened in Kwara State, we saw that it was a suspected bomb explosion that happened in Wero community in Kayama local government of Kwara State, with many people feared to have been killed. As we speak now, no group has officially claimed responsibility for that very explosion, but people in that very area, they believe that the attack may have been linked to Boko Haram, terrorists. And this is coming just weeks after a previous attack in that very area where several people were killed and houses destroyed. So, Tony, the issue of insecurity persists. Just like every day you open the media, be it television, radio, or newspapers, you're going to see sad stories of insecurity challenge in one place or the other. And now we have Niger and Kwara State, and the issue happens to be explosion, bomb related. But that of Niger seems to be it's like these terrorists have planted landmines and EIDs on some roads, that if anybody mistakenly marches on it, of course, that becomes the end of that very person. And if we're going to extrapolate, we now question or ask why Kwara State, which was previously peaceful, is now becoming the hotbed of terrorist attack and bandit attacks. What suddenly made Kwara State vulnerable to all these attacks, Tony?
Well, we know very well that this is not the first time these attackers have struck Kwara State. I could recall one of the days we were talking about a similar incident, and we were able to highlight a number of security formations in Kwara State, why this happened, and then even the warning that came before then, which was not heeded to, and which the intelligence was not in any way acted upon or actioned on, and it led to the attack before we had the one we are now talking about, where we are told that about 9 persons were reportedly killed. There was also destruction of bridges and those access roads cutting off communities, and we are told that the attacks concentrated in remote and rural settlements. Well, you asked. We know very well that Kwara State, historically, just like you said, it has been a very calmer state than many northern states, but it's increasingly exposed to spillover insecurity due to its location. It has a proximity to North Central and Northwest conflict zones. Remember, Kwara is part of North Central geopolitical zone, as we know. And we also have it that, of course, you look at Niger State, it's bordered by, I'm talking about Kwara State. It's bordered by Niger State from the north, I think Kogi State from the east, or your state from the southwest, and then even Osun State from the south, and the Kiri State from the southeast. These are the 5 states that borders Kwara State. And he also has a border with Benin Republic on the west part of the state. You can understand the geopositioning of Kwara State. If you know, Niger State leads you to entire north west. He then talk about Kogi State, part of North Central geopolitical zone. And if you look at all these states that surround Kwara State, Kogi has its own share of insecurity. Niger has its own share of insecurity. It's inevitable to have this spillover in Kwara State. I'm also concerned that even the Niger-Kogi axis is known route for bandits. No doubt. You also have forest belts connecting multiple states. These are reasons why it has become a very ground for bandits. We know very well that the Governor Abdurrahman Abdulaziz, he is the chairman of the Governors Forum. He has canvassed so much for the state police. And the last we heard from him, he told us that states have submitted their proposal, all the states. So it is a matter of time where National Assembly we start working on Section 214 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to see to the creation of state police and other segments of the security that the state would also have to take lead on. We can't be saying this from time to time. Kwara State is in the spotlight, there's no doubt. And of course, you know very well that even the jihadists believe that it's a conquered zone.
So, are we going back to the era of explosions, bomb attacks? Because what we became used to in recent time was the issue of, gun attack, invade places, kill people with machete and gun. But this time around, in the past couple of weeks that we have heard about different bomb explosions here and there. The one of Maiduguri is still fresh in our minds.
Most times, some of these bombs are explosive devices that these jihadists strapped on their body. Suicide bombing. We've seen that. Since it came into this country, it has been their usual style. With the brainwashed believing that they were sent to heaven. If that explodes on their body, if there is explosion on their body, they are gonna go to heaven. That's the belief. That's what they've been taught. But we have to find a way to bridge the gap. We must find a way to bridge this gap. It is very, very uncertain that these explosions are happening. We don't understand that these people are using human shields, no doubt, but they still face no resistance. I know I've talked about being able to forge strong resistance against these incessant attackers. Incessant in the sense that they continue to do this from time to time, and each time they do it, they have a field day. Nobody resists them, nobody come in a way to fight them back, and they have all the time to do whatever they want to do. That is one of the things the state police will take charge of, so that they will never have field day which time they come for this. We know very well that they may also think that Kwara State belongs to their jihadist map or mapping. I remember the story of Afunja, who was the heir Onakakamfo of Oyo, and how he rebelled against the laughing king of Oyo, trying to weaken the empire, and how he was able to call Fulani forces to join him in the fight against the laughing of Oyo, and in the process, those he called for the fight to support him to weaken the they are laughing of Oyo's empire ended up not weakening the empire as it were, but rather took charge of the Kwara State where he was actually superintendent. If you remember that very story of Afonja, but the story is everywhere. And that was how the Fulanis took over Kwara State, because Afonja called them and they instituted their emirate. That's why you have Emir of Kwara State, but Emir of Kwara rather. That's the story. But the truth remains that we're in a modern era, in a modern period. Of course, peace and normalcy has never returned that place. But why we are saying what we are saying is this pillar, just like I said earlier on, where Kwara is in a strategic geoposition bordering Niger State and also Kogi State. And I say Niger-Kogi route is the route notorious. It's notorious in the sense that bandits have been occupying that route. We must put resistance to ensure that these people don't have few days.
So the governors of these very two states, are they doing enough? I think sometime I heard two of them saying that they were planning to work together and see how they can tame the issue of insecurity. As it stands now, I don't know how, I don't know to what extent they have gone with that very arrangement to see that things get to change. From what we know they have done, are they doing enough within their capacity, within their limits, and within their power? Because most of the times when we talk about this issue of insecurity, governors will tell you that the federal government controls the police, controls the army, that they don't have this, they don't have that, they are incapacitated. Have they been able to show that people can trust them, that they actually care about their welfare, that if more is given to them, they will be able to protect them?
They have not shown that in my own sense, because I have to be very frank with you. I expect more. We know very well that many of them are chief security officers of the state in principle, in the sense that they do not control any major security outfit. Most security outfits are under the control of the president, but there is much expected of them. They can see what the governor of Anambra State has done using the local vigilante, as we know, Agune Chamber, to bring security to BRX minimal. Of course, he said in his speech that there had never been any major incident in the last 4 months. No major incidents in the last 4 months in Anambra State. He said it before the vice president that Anambra State is the safest state in the entire south and the entire country, not even southeast, the safest in the entire country. And the vice president was nodding. He nodded. Of course, he agreed. And he asked vice president, when last did you hear of any major incidents in Anambra State? There was a time the state was overrun, but he has to come in and put in quite a lot of works using the local vigilante, hoping that by the time the state's list comes, of course, these things will be optimized with security, resources, and then resource sharing and optimization. These things will be effected. You ask me what are the governors in question, what have they done? Have they been able to do? I wouldn't say they are not doing anything, but the question is, have they done enough? Because it would be very myopic of anybody to say that they are not doing anything. But the question is, have they done enough? I'm aware that the governor, Abdul Razak, who has been in office since 2019, has most time come out to cry that they need help. But I don't know if he has been able to set up local vigilante that will give these people a hot shakes, a hot fight. That is left to be seen. But we know Kwara State has, of course, large landmarks. You can't compare the small landmarks we have here to that of Kwara State. Niger State has the highest in the country, and it is also the habitat for bandits. And they now form a strong ecosystem within that axis. It's important we know these things. But whether he has put up strong fight, local vigilante in a way to fight these people, that I cannot say for sure. That I cannot vouch. because he needs to do more, even when we know very well that he's too incapacitated in some areas, but there is also much he can do with his security votes and his power as the governor of Kwara State to ensure that the entire forest, because they have forest belts, no doubt, these things are calmed.
Okay, let's now go over to the talk of the town now, which is how petrol price has been increasing, without looking back. As we speak now, at some petrol stations, you can buy at 1,400 naira per liter. And yesterday, like we read in the headline that the president of Dangote Group, Dangote, that he was in Lagos in the Ikoyi residence of the president, where he met him. They had a chat which we were not privy to, but after that very chat, he spoke to the media where he talked about his concerns about what is going on in the Middle East, saying that if nothing happens urgently, that Nigeria could be in for a bad time. Whatever gains we might have recorded is those gains are going to be eroded. He even said Africa is at the receiving end of this whole thing, and he was calling for, a shift from what is now the prevailing circumstance. And in that same regard, we heard from the organized private sector and the NLC. Yesterday, they made urgent calls on governments to intervene as petrol prices, continue to move forward. Now, if you hear from NLC and the organized private sector, they are asking that government cannot continue to watch why Nigerians, suffer the consequences of the action in the Middle East. He said, at this point in time, government must bring in interventions that are going to help to cushion the effect. So, Tony, one of the issues they propose is temporary subsidy. The subsidy that Nigerian government said, was riddled with plenty of corruption and what have you, and that was the reason it was discarded. But this time around, NLC and organized private sector, they are saying that at this point in time, government should consider bringing temporary subsidy. It can as well consider reducing taxes on Dangote refinery and see how they are going to impact on the price of petrol.
Well, we have said this the other day, and we have given a proposal. Even from here, everybody is trying to push up a proposal, but the one we are pushing up is the one that will not in any way affect our economy. It's not about the one that we make us to have a kind of leverage over the conflict going on in the Middle East, but we are looking at something that will not also affect the economy. What this has cost our economy is humongous. Inflation, we've seen inflationary trend. We've seen prices of goods and services, commodity prices. We've seen these things. They have started going up as against the gains made so far, which we have also appreciated. The point is, what can the government do at this point? And there's something I propose, and I call it cost rebalancing or cost balancing. I think I called it cost balancing the last time I spoke about it, where we can dip our hands a little bit, because this time around we need to save. We've talked about the windfall, what we are going to make out of this. We are making a whole lot. The benchmark for our 2026 budget was about $64 per barrel. As we speak today, the price of oil at the international market is around $109 or thereabout. I don't know if it has crossed 114 as we spoke last. That's the side of it. And you look around, you find out that for every barrel, we are making around $50-something for every barrel sold, which is unexpected. And if you calculate our production, we have about 1.8 million production, 1.8 million barrels. You calculate it, the amounts on top per day. That tells you that we're gonna, of course, the projection is about, we're gonna make about how many? I think $50-something billion. That's the projection. But we can do something, just like I said. We can give tax incentives or tax waivers to either Dangote refine, because that's the only person who is refining the product as we speak right now. But of course, I listened to the company the other day. They say that they may opt to sell all their products to other countries. They may opt to export all the products. Reason, according to them, is that the NNPC Limited, where we have the NDPR, they are still selling licenses, import licenses of petroleum to import petrol. For them, it is really does not sit well with them. That's what I said. It doesn't sit well with them that you can be selling the license for petrol import to some marketers and at the same time expect them to return the agreement already signed. Dangote must have met Mr. President yesterday over this, because even when he came out, he did not disclose that it was one of the things he met Mr. President over. He was the one that said that the Nigerian midstream, downstream petroleum, they are still selling import license to marketers. And he queried the rationale behind such sale of import license. And I know he demanded to see Mr. President. He was granted the approval to see Mr. President. And I know yesterday when he met Mr. President, is one of the things he will bring before Mr. President.
Okay, so Tony, we have two other things now we have to quickly address. One is the, World Tuberculosis Day is being held today, and in Nigeria, Nigeria has a tuberculosis burden, and now one of the challenges is that we seem to have a funding gap now. And if you know that in Nigeria, or even across the world, that tuberculosis, for people who have HIV, it's a very dangerous thing for them. That's number one. Then number two is the convention being planned by the Wike faction of the PDP. As we speak, they have a 13-member committee that has been tasked with the responsibility of organizing national convention of PDP. As we speak, they have begun the sale of form, and that very convention is going to happen on March 29 and March 30. That should be about 2 days or a day after APC national convention. But the question has been, on what legal foundation, on what basis is Wike's faction of PDP going ahead to hold convention, if we are going to pay attention to the judgment of the appeal court that nullified the convention which was held in about last year?
Let me begin with the World Tuberculosis Day. It's marked every March 24 to commemorate the 1982 discovery of the tuberculosis bacterium by Robert Koch. I'm aware that Robert Koch in 1882 discovered the TB bacterium. So it's more like raising awareness about the tuberculosis as a major public health threat. They did to raise funds, mobilize funds, and also make commitments in ensuring that the world is free of tuberculosis. Because I'm aware that tuberculosis remains one of the deadliest infectious diseases, killing over 1 million people annually, despite being preventable and curable. It is preventable, it is curable. So Nigerian situation is consistently ranked among the top high burden countries globally. Yes. Most times the measures are along with India and then Pakistan, because they have population as we have. I'm so much concerned about the whole thing, about the number of people who are diagnosed of tuberculosis every year, about 300,000 people. But of course, we are told that we have about over 500 people who fall for tuberculosis every year. But with about 300 or so, 300,000 people being diagnosed. And if you look around, just like I said, the bacterium that causes tuberculosis was discovered in 1882. Tuberculosis bacterium. If I can still remember that, I think I get it. Mycobacterium. But over time, we've seen the funding gap, as you mentioned. That's the reason for the tuberculosis ward. And one thing people should understand about tuberculosis is that it affects the lungs. It's an airborne disease. When somebody coughs, sneezes, or when the person speaks, if the person has the bacterium, it comes out into the air and the next person takes it. And it goes straight to the lungs. And it causes very uncontrollable or sometimes sequential coughs. And it does a lot of damages to the lungs. I'm not going to talk more about it. Yes. All the same. But all these things we are talking about, of course, the funding has been coming from the federal government and the US aid. The United States has been supportive in ensuring normal funding. Of course, we are told that we need about $1 billion to make Nigeria free of tuberculosis. $1 billion. That's what is needed. We've seen these funds not measuring to that amount on yearly basis. But we've seen United States assisting Nigeria in that area, and also the federal government showing commitment. So we need states and the other tiers of government to show commitment to the issue of tuberculosis. I think I will stop at that.
Okay, so the information we have now, this one is just for the public, for them to know that TB diagnosis and treatment, they are free of charge in government hospitals or government approved centers in Nigeria. There's some government hospitals where you can go and you get this free of charge, and it is funded by the government and partners through the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control Program. So if you know anybody who has such, of course that can be taken care of. This very treatment covers issue of TB drug, the full treatment course, which often lasts for 6 months or thereabout, and the basic diagnosis tests like the sputum test, sometimes the x-rays, it also covers it. Then the follow-up care under directly observed treatment program, they are all free. So we should take advantage of these very openings for those who have tuberculosis, or if you know anybody, so that we can help to reduce the burden, because Nigeria has a great burden out of tuberculosis. So let's quickly talk about the PDP.
Okay. You asked on what ground is Wike faction of PDP going on with their congresses and even planning national convention? I don't know the ground. It's on the ground that we own Nigeria. We own Nigeria. Of course, that's what is really giving them the courage. If you judge by the Court of Appeal judgment, which did not hand PDP expressly to Wike faction, the only thing the court did, of course, we highlighted it, was the nullification of the Ibadan Convention over issues of non-compliance with court directives, and not also holding states and state congresses and also world congresses before the national convention, and other things the appeal court pointed. Of course, they have appealed the judgment of appeal court. The matter is now before the Supreme Court. Even while the matter is before the Supreme Court, from Wike is not backing down. Even when Supreme Appeal Court also upheld the suspension of Samuel Ayawa, as you mentioned, on what basis is he functioning again as the national caretaker secretary of the party when his suspension was ratified and upheld by the appeal court and other members, not just him alone, because the appeal court said that the party has every right to suspend and discipline its members. But they have also twisted the judgment and interpreted it the way it suits them and go on with whatever they are doing. So on what ground are they doing that? On the ground that they own this country. And for them, there are those that may be thinking that judiciary has been captured by their attitude, but Supreme Court is the last bus stop for this madness. But whatever it goes, they have held state congresses, they have held world congresses, they are planning the national convention. All I can say is good luck to Wike with whatever he's doing. If Supreme Court says no to whatever he's doing, probably that will be a halt or a stop to it. But if they did not in any way interpret it in a way that it will be very clear, he continues to do what he's doing.
Okay, so let's take this very commercial break and then open the phone lines to take your input. You can call 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694 by the time we open the phone line. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the Tozialo. Wendy's bread, Mama, Papa, they like Wendy's bread, kitchen and duo. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, I'm in town. Wendy's bread, get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body, Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Misha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Onitsha, una done ready for the biggest Easter shutdown. Golden Promise Entertainment presents Easter Golden Fiesta. One massive night of music, comedy, and correct vibes. It happens Sunday, April 12, 2026 from 5 p.m. till dawn for Onitsha Mall ShopRite. Host for the night, MC Bim and MC Feargod. Music policy by Emmy Black, Ivado, and Sparkle T. Laughter with comedians like Twin Parrots, Prince Neche, 5 Naira, Dibia Update, Holy Baba, and Sister Equitos, plus live performances from Mweze and CJ Ozugo, and DJs will go keep the party hot all night. DJ Staffy, DJ Y Barrel, DJ Two Step, DJ Tony Banks, DJ Freezy, and DJ NK. Tickets they go fast. Regular 2,000 Naira, VIP 5,000 Naira, VVIP table for 5, 200,000 Naira. For sponsorship, bookings, and enquiries, call 0814-394-2802 or 0808-441-5156. Easter Golden Fiesta, the party we on nature go talk about. Supported by Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
I want to hear no the latest where they happen. Obenda poor often don't enter for town. You want to upgrade your car, it day in town. For motorway get accident, you go make and tantam. Our integrity stand first in everything we do, and we dey deliver worldwide. This not the latest update when I get for you. If your motor spoil and you want to fix some more, if you want to repaint some motor, power often they run a more. But don't man against if I'm a financial go banaka and you put your locals, they go power often nanyoba. Maybe I'm a banagi or the tam can giggle off. You repent motor, but motor will accident. You tell the local power of I know to not talk about Nambu or Babu officer local bus stop along Owerri Road, Oba. For more inquiry, why not Kalequentia 090-1100-2200. Angelo Tolo
Onitsha, ndị nwe ahịa, nke a bụ ụzọ anyị si asị unu daalụ maka ọmarịcha otu afọ nke nzikọrịta ozi. Udala Radio dị otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a. N'ọnwa Maachị a niile, Udala nwere onyinye pụrụ iche maka ịgba afọ ọhụrụ a. Ịzụta advert slot abụọ, inwe otu mgbakwunye onyinye n'efu. Ịnụrụ nke ọma, ohere nke mgbasa ozi ahịa, ozi ọbụla maọbụ nke program, ịkwụ ụgwọ, nweta ohere abụọ, anyị agbakwunyere gị otu. Nke a bụ ohere ị nwere ime ka ndị Onitsha n'obodo ndị ọzọ nụ ma mara maka ahịa gị. Gbata ọsọ ozugbo n'ihi ohere ọ pụrụ iche a malitere ugbu a ma bụrụ nke ga-abịa n'isi njedebe n'ụbọchị nke 31 n'ọnwa Maachị nke afọ a, n'ọnwa mgbakwunye afọ Udala. Maka ndebanya na ajụjụ, kpọọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị dị n'Onitsha na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout. Ya bụ inwe ike ịkpọ anyị na 0803-350-4206 maọbụ ịbịa n'ụlọ ọrụ anyị na nọmba 5 Okono Street n'okirikiri DMGS Roundabout Onitsha. Udala Radio emeela otu afọ n'ọnwa Maachị a, ọkpọkọpi n'ezie.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Of course, we are seriously authentic. You are listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:36 a.m. My name is Franklin Ebekandu. It's time for us to open the phone lines to take your input on the issues we have raised this very morning. Don't forget that on our social media platform, you can as well engage on those platforms. On Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Drop your comment, your name, and your location on that very page. We're going to acknowledge all your posts. Good morning.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Becky.
Good morning, your name?
Good morning, Franklin. My name is Ignatius Okoye from Mauritius Kingdom.
Go on, Mr. Ignatius.
My speaker, Franklin, it seems that our judiciary is trying to help this government in power. But the government, the judgment they used to give. You see, that I like that they gave a judgment against ATC again. Signing the leader of the main holder of ATC to test the people who did not choose them back. You see, the only thing is not good. Even this PDP own. I think I said that the and the other two men are attacked. That remove them from the PDP. But the other people who form this Katika committee, how can the people that is not removed to be the leader from the Katika committee and the government is using them? I don't know. That's the problem we are having. Like, if the other side will go to Supreme Court, let the Supreme Court help the matter. And if not, we don't know what that is. Forget what they say. They are not going to help Tinubu. They will vote to fight. They will put a president of their own. They are not doing that. They are working for Tinubu. Wike and his colleagues are working for Tinubu. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Ignatius. Thank you for dropping your comment. Good morning. Okay. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, we can hear you.
Yeah, Emeka speaking from Onitsha.
Mr. Emeka, go on.
Thank you. You said that the battle is
Mr. Emeka, if you can call back, we're going to appreciate that so that we'll be able to get your thoughts. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Welcome on board.
This is Monday, Johnson. And I'm speaking from Mr. Speaker, good morning.
Okay, just go on. He just stepped out.
Okay. Please, frankly, I want to ask a question. When the Speaker, Tony Becky, was reacting to the question you asked about those that have been appointed by the governor to serve, the secretary to the state government and the other, he was actually saying that saying that they have the capacity. Then I want to ask, because these offices are public offices, they are there to serve the people. How do we measure capacity? Please, I want to know. Because if the people don't understand how the governor come about seeing them as people that have the capacity, I think it may not go that way with the people. At the end of the day, the criticism may be too high on these people. But if the people actually realize, the same way the governor actually discovered that they have the capacity, there may be that agreement when they finally go in to serve. So please, the people want to know what the governor has seen in them,
morning, Monday Johnson. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Franklin, Dr. Tony Sadiq. Chidi Chukuma joining you from home.
Go on, sir.
Let me start with the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. In the morning, when I first had the news of bombing of Niger Bridge, I was so shocked. You know that we have Niger Bridge in people. But to do the explanation on analysis on that in this platform, I was able to know exactly what happened. That is a Niger State bridge, not a Niger bridge, or this one in my environment. But I am equally disturbed by the level of insecurity that we're experiencing this time. And it raises a very question, where is America about this? And I think we are getting what we bargained for. Because we don't want to spend our money on insecurity. We want a free service to this nation. If you look at the condition, the terrain, Nigerian terrain, and also the level of sabotage on insecurity coming from different dimensions, then you will ask yourself question, who can come here to give a free service to America to deploy their troops to fight this insecurity? And I don't think that America can venture into that without a cost. The only thing that they are able to offer us is a training and also how to use technology. And equally, the contract with the offer for the France is saying the same thing. There is no difference at all. So we want free service, and that is what they are giving to us. And it is not good at all because we don't want to spend our oil money. And that oil we are talking about, how many of us are enjoying that oil? Our oil is in the hand of food privilege in Nigeria, and the people are dying on a daily basis. The federal government is not doing something about that. If they can engage America on a contract to come here to fight terrorism with a troop, I don't think that this thing will continue in Nigeria. There is no way they can deploy their troop in this terrain, facing a whole lot of hurdles in order because there is a sabotage, all round sabotage, and America cannot venture taking such a risk. Really, it is not possible at all. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Franklin Ebuka.
Franklin Ebuka, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Let's
Good
hear
morning,
you.
my chief speaker, Tony Olukambeki. Honorable James Mayor, Kume, JP, Tukulolo, Temple. Can I go on?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Let me start by saying that each morning I wake up to hear about bombing or killing or all this thing happening in Nigeria. Intensely so. The reason is that I know the amount of money that we are budgeting for insecurity. And all these things we are saying, both governors bring in local security and so on and so forth. It's almost about teaching about the truth. Why not Nigeria arrest the people that are concerned, the people that are sponsoring these people? What is withholding Nigeria from taking action against these people? Even if you create state police, even if you create vigilante, it cannot work. Reason is that, are you telling me that these people that are kidnapping, are they flying from A, kidnap and fly for disappear with those people? All these security people that are on the road, where are them when this evil act are being perpetuated? Give order to these people to say at the same time nothing can be done. The issue now is that they have given us the names of the people that are involved. Nigeria knows the name of the people that are involved in this mess. People move, not doing anything about it. People, innocent people are being killed every day. Bringing to a book is the language. Bringing to them to justice is the language. In fact, this country, I'm very tired of the kind of killing that is happening here.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do than to bring out the roots where all this problem is coming from. If you don't bring it out and stop it, there's nothing you are beating about.
you.
So I want to.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your opinion. We appreciate that. Okay, I'll try again. 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. You can still drop your comment on our Facebook page. Very soon we are going to get on that platform for us to acknowledge the post we have there. Good morning.
My name is Badmos. I'm calling from Udala.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Badmos.
Let me sound it very clear that best brains and capable hands in various institutions we have in this world are found in private sector. You understand? Those that are capable are in private sector, not in government. Those that are working with government are those that have the privilege and connection, those that politicians started for them to be there, not because they have capable hands. Even their qualifications are on paper. But those that are in the job, that knows what the job is all about, are in private sector. And they can never work for government in any form. If you call them, they will not, because government cannot be able to pay them. So those that are working with government, those that are being appointed by the government, are those that are working with politicians. Those that politicians approve to be there. So somebody should not come here and tell us that because this one is capable, this one is the best brains are found in the private sector, not in government. You understand? So, and finally, I want to ask, this Niger bridge that the bandits or the Boko Haram bombed down, I want to ask, what is the distance of the bridge? Between Niger bridge and that bridge, which one is more longer? And what is the diameter? How big is the bridge? So that we know the type of situation we are into in this country. Is it bigger than Niger bridge you have in this Onitsha? What is the diameter of the bridge? I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So let's take for that reactions. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Franklin. Good morning.
Good morning.
My
Welcome.
speaker also, I want to thank you. This is Akamele. Akamele is calling from Fiji.
Go on, sir.
On that list, the governor has given to us, I was expecting to hear the name of my speaker, Mr. Tony Horisambeki. I thought that the governor should have taken him in, because I know my speaker knows how to do things and how to govern. I've been hearing from him for a long time, so I was thinking that the governor should have taken him in as one of his cabinet members. Okay, apart from this, I want to talk on this insecurity in Kwara State. We remember that former governor, CBN governor, Obadiah, he said it, that one of the commander in Boko Haram told him that one of the sitting governor at that time was sponsoring them. And immediately the DSS invited him. And after that invitation, the man died without dealing that same person, that governor. Okay, now, Bumi has come out and tell us that even the federal government, they knew the name of these terrorists. They know where they are. Even Brotai has come out and said it. Why is it that the federal government are not going directly to attack these people? And they are telling us that they will invite some people to come and fight. Is it not part of it? Not being truthful. Because if you are truthful, you tell somebody told you that you know where these people are, and you are not doing anything, and you are telling us you want to invite some countries to help you fight. Why you know how to fight it? If it is the Carolina, you know how to get him from Kenya. This country. Now, wow. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Akamera, for your input. So we are going to go to our Facebook page now. Let's see some of the reactions that have been dropped on that very page, so that we'll begin to summarize today's conversation. So we have some of them here. Gregory Tadeu says, he's commenting from Asaba. He says, congratulations to the new appointees of Governor Soludo. Secondly, I am appealing to the federal government to use the excess from crude windfall to fix our refineries and reduce the sufferings of the poor masses. It's shameful that the APC government deceived the masses on the operations of Port Harcourt refinery, yet nothing is done to hold those responsible for that deceit accountable. And he's asking, what kind of country is this? Zakwa Celestin says we are in the era of selective justice in Nigeria, which what is playing out in our judiciary today. But it is very unfortunate that people like Justice James Motoshaw, who claim to be an elder in the church, allow himself to be used in carrying out this mess. And he says, come to think of it, Abdul Rashid Maina, the former pension boss, who was convicted of 2.1 billion naira pension fund, and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, who also was accused of a whooping 80.2 billion naira and 110 billion naira, are walking freely on Nigerian street. Why Chinyere Nwaboku, the acting AGF, was jailed 72 years for being convicted of 868 million naira without an option of fine. So where do we go from there? Okay, that's from the first. And then Rotratobia Wikechko Christopher from College of Education and so where he says, it's commendable giving young people a chance to lead and show their positive, useful skills. It will encourage others to work hard and prepare for future leadership. Congratulations to Barrister Tochukwu Mweke as the Attorney General of Anambra State. Then from Dr. Misimo Lebra, where she says, these leaders have really dealt with us. We need men and women who can stand tall on moral authority and can march on in gold in search of honor. Men and women with service and heart of love for us. Leaders with justice in their heart and ambition of living here better than they met it. We need golden names who will occupy the most treasured pages in the yet-to-be-written golden book of leaders. We need men and women whose names will serve as collaterals to their survivors and lineage. May God help us to get it right in 2027. That's the comment from Dr. Misimo Lebra from Orimo State. Udo Ima, listening from Electronics Market opposite Premier. Okay, he said, people are doing well. Thank you for the commendation. The Collins Uzomo Wapwe, thank you for following. Likewise, Mara's Classic from 33 Onitsha. Ichie Billiam says, best brains and capable hands are not found in government but in private sector. Those working in government are there by connection and long legs. Fidelis Joseph, thank you for following. Mazinwori Chikwadoromo Sinachi says, I appreciate Governor Saludo for the appointment given to Lady Chiamaka Nake as the new secretary to the state government. This has shown that the youths are now acceptable in Nigerian government. He posted from Onitsha. Master B SJP says millions of Nigerian children are out of school, which will give rise to more bandits and terrorism in the country. Our leaders should declare a state of emergency on education, free and compulsory education. He posted from Onitsha. Young Gobo says the genesis of our country problem is adequate education. Okay. I'm going to read it the way he wrote it. The genesis of our country's problem is adequate education for our youth and Nigeria. And Nigeria should invest on technology, intelligence for security to reduce excessive killings in the country. He posted from Benue State. Onyeka Nemeka and Okoyangleka, thank you for also following the program and then dropping your comment. So somebody was asking about the length of the bridge in Niger State. I think yes. Let me even say this, please. If we're talking about this very bridge that was bombed in Niger State, if we call it Niger Bridge, it sends a kind of wrong message to the minds of some person. They might be thinking it's somewhere here in Onitsha. So if you say bridge in Niger State, now that bridge in Niger State is not a landmark bridge. It's actually a small bridge that connects communities. I'll give you an instance. If you're going to move from Oruku to come into Abatete, there is a bridge there. If you're going to move from Alo to get into Abatete, there's a bridge there because there's a river that flows across that very road. So this is the kind of bridge we're talking about. It's not that landmark bridge. So it's not a known bridge to say that if you begin to look for the records, you might not be able to find it. If you talk about the first Niger bridge that we have here, that Niger bridge is about 1,404 meters in length, which is approximately about 1.4 kilometers. That's the length of the first Niger bridge. But if you want to talk about the second Niger bridge, that one is 1.59 kilometers, the length of second Niger bridge. Okay, so that much I can give you now. There's somebody asked Tony a question about how to measure capacity. Unfortunately, Tony is not here now to respond to that question. Perhaps we might carry it over on another program for him to talk about how to measure capacity and what the governor found in those people he has appointed. So on that very note, we thank every one of you for listening today. We appreciate all your inputs, and we're going to be here tomorrow for another edition of this very program. And I ask you to stay with us on Udala Radio 104.7 FM because we have lots of programs lined up for you. Today, don't forget, by 12 is going to be 12 at noon, and 12:30 is going to be Cherry Box, where you get to hear all the gossips. You want to hear about Davido's tour of UK, you're going to hear it there. You want to hear about Omotola in the news and plenty of those gossip that are going to be there for you in Boko Boko. Thank you for listening. Good morning. My name is Franklin Ebuka.